stars? Or do you mean a black hole that is incredibly hot or something like that? We have talked about black holes because of quantum fluctuations, maybe emitting certain particles, giving black holes a temperature. We have actually talked about that from this same book of Stephen Hawking, who worked on this. So you might perhaps tell me what you mean. But either way, thank you for the question. So energy is a bit like money. You weren't allowed to be overdrawn, not in the classical ways anyways. So these classical laws would have ruled out any possibility of time travel. However, as has been described in earlier chapters, the classical laws were superseded by quantum laws based on the uncertainty principle. The quantum laws are more liberal and allow you to be overdrawn on one or two accounts, provided that the total balance is positive for energy, that is. In other words, quantum theory allows the energy density to be negative in some places, provided that this is made up for by positive energy densities in other places, so that the total energy remains positive. Oh no, Stephen. Okay, yes, you please do get rest. I'll see you tomorrow. Sorry about that. See you tomorrow. Good night. An example of how quantum theory can allow negative energy densities is provided by what is called the Casimir effect. So this is spelled as Casimir. Casimir effect. Casimir. So once again, this is an example of how quantum theory can allow negative energy densities. So we want the total energy density to be positive, but maybe in some spots we can have negative energy density overall, with the overall requirement that the overall should be positive. Even though classically we don't like negative energy densities, just like we don't like overdrawn bank accounts. Okay? So you can see the rest of the live tomorrow, Stephen. You can just skip to this part and look at the video tomorrow that gets posted from the live stream. Good night, friends. Behave, everyone. I will never behave at all. Good night, my friend. Have a good night. See you tomorrow. As we saw in chapter 7, so we've covered chapter 7 earlier, but let's see what he says here. Even what we think of as an empty space is filled with pairs of virtual particles and antiparticles that appear together, move apart, and come back together and annihilate each other. So empty space can actually be quite unempty, in the sense of having all these types of pair particles or antiparticles, etc. Especially if you have a particle and an antiparticle kind of annihilating with each other, it may look empty, but indeed there's a lot of quantum things that are happening in that empty space sometimes. Now, suppose one has two parallel metal plates a short distance apart. So this is actually the example. I believe what we're about to get into is sort of what we kind of touched upon earlier. Doro, shut up. You're late and now you're driving away my audience. I've had to do all of the moderation myself. There were all kinds of weird people saying weird things and I had to take care of them all on my own. But thank you for being here. Welcome to the live. Have a good night to you if you're leaving, but don't drive my audience away. I need to do a little bit of reading. Yes. How are you? How's everything going? Dura Madness. How are you? Okay, so now we're going to get into this example of the parallel metal plates, which we have actually mentioned a long time ago. So I think it's going to be a little bit of a review if you've been there. Wild and busy over here. Hope you're great, Owens. Thank you. Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. So the plates will act like mirrors for the virtual photons or particles of light. In fact, they will form a cavity between them. So by the way, I think that this example might be something that Kip Thorne thought about. We will see if Stephen Hawking gives him any credit. But maybe I'm not thinking of it correctly, but we have mentioned something like this before. This means, so in fact, they will form a cavity between them, the parallel plates, a bit like an organ pipe that will resonate only at certain notes. Thank you.